Watch that ridgeline as you're getting my 6 today. There's a lot of activity. It might look like wind. Pay attention to the direction in which the wind is blowing the branches. Look for anything moving any other direction. Pulling up a chair. Got a lot of information to share with you today as you get my 6. And it's going to be difficult because the very beautiful blossoms from the eastern redbud tree is blocking the view. And we've got some very beautiful blossoms, blossoms and new leaflets from this red oak over here. But watch back there anyway. I'm so excited, guys. I wore some of my favorite corduroy pants. And I had actually worn my dinner jacket and had my spectacles out that I wore in that one scene of that one movie, Bigfoot Sasquatch the movie, where the main character is actually doing cryptozoological research at the University of Virginia, because I've spent my morning doing some research. I've got factual, scientific, mathematical proof here of some new discoveries. Exciting new discoveries that shows that we are one big foot closer to discovering Sasquatch. What am I talking about? Listen very closely too. I just heard like a yelp. I heard it again. You hear that? That's not a dog. I don't know what that is. All right, let's get into it. I was thinking about, okay, why didn't I dress up like that? Because a lot of people thought that part of the movie was funny. I wasn't meaning it to be, potentially. But I was thinking about, when I put these on, about, people are, it's really crazy. I'm really trying to present the evidence here of the potential Bigfoot Sasquatch that may or may not live in the forest back here behind my home. We're on this journey together, but yet my motives are continually questioned, to the point to where when I wear corduroy pants, this has got to be still to date the most obnoxious comment we've ever received on the channel. And it's been more than one. Comments to the effect of, OMG, how much corduroy does he own? You can tell he doesn't have friends. Or, OMG, is he actually wearing corduroy pants? It's obvious he has no friends. Listen to this true story, and I'm getting into this. This is going to blow your mind. Look at this. I drew these this morning. One of the things I'm doing while I hashtag stay at home is I'm starting to sketch again. I used to do this actually, but look at this. Isn't that cute? That's called a, and this is, I'm getting ahead of myself, but this is part of today's story. This is called a tardigrade, also known as sea bear, water bear. You might have seen images like this going around the internet a couple of years ago, because they discovered a new species of this. It's actually an animal. It's smaller than 1 millimeter. It's almost microscopic, but not quite. But you've got to have a microscope to see the features, and it does look like a little tiny bear. It's cute. It looks like half pig, half bear. But the phyla of this species was discovered in 1773. Okay, but this new class of the phylum was discovered in 2018. I think that's the proper verbiage for that. Just because I studied cryptozoology at the University of Virginia doesn't make me look, I ain't a scientist. I'm a cryptozoologist. I'm a pseudoscientist, okay? Now, what was my point? Oh, 2 months ago, I was hanging out with a dear friend of mine. We were having coffee, and I happened to glance down and notice that he had on corduroy pants. Almost the same shade as the corduroy pants I was wearing that very day. What's more mind-blowing than that is that particular day I happened to be wearing a pair of my wife's socks that are periwinkle in color, almost pinkish, very similar to the color of the blossoms on this eastern redbud tree behind me. They're very thick wool socks, Gander Mountain socks that we bought in bulk at deep discount when Gander Mountain went out of business a few years back. They're very comfy, so I like to wear them. I noticed my friend, who was also wearing corduroy pants, was also wearing an almost identical shade of periwinkle pink wool Gander Mountain socks. Mind blown. Hey, there's all kinds in this world out there, and somehow we find each other. Even those of us who like to wear corduroy and our wife's periwinkle pink socks have friends. Now, here's what's going on. I'm super excited because, okay, this is microscopic. So so people are saying, oh yeah, but what are the odds of finding like a big creature, like Bigfoot Sasquatch, something huge? It's less likely. Actually, it's not. And there's been a recent discovery just within the last week that proves this, proving that we are one Bigfoot closer to discovering Sasquatch. Now, something else I want to address while we're talking about corduroy pants and these new discoveries, and this is why I didn't wear the jacket. I want you to understand that I am heart attack serious in regard to this information I'm presenting. That's why I don't have my beautiful bride dearly, aka Giggly Girl, here with me today. She would be laughing her rear end off and you wouldn't take it seriously, but I'm gonna get her back out real soon. It's cold today. She's not gonna do it when it's cold. If it's below 80, you're lucky to see her. It's from the tropical Philippine Islands, you'll remember. So anyway, people are always saying, does this guy really believe in Bigfoot, or is he making fun of us, those of us who do? We get this question a lot, so I'm going to address it. I'm going to address this by quoting the Joker from Batman. Every time I see this comment, this is my reply. Why so serious? That's how the Joker would say it. The way I would say that, I would change it slightly and say, why so sensitive? Really? You can't tell? It's one of those questions that doesn't need to be answered. Buck up, cowboy. All right, so let me read you some math. Science is cool, but I like math. Of course, numbers can be manipulated too. Now, before I do this, I swear, guys, I'm getting into it. I'm going to be launching right into it here, but I've got actual statistics, math, and numbers. And after this, we're going to go around here and gallivant around a bit in the potential Bigfoot Sasquatch forest behind me, because I keep hearing what sounds like definitive distant tree knocks. We'll see if we can get closer. All right, I'm going to give a shout out. Something I used to do commonly that I don't do anymore. It kind of backfired on us. But I'm going to do this because somebody's motivated me. Yesterday, I made a video. At face value, it looks like it's about planting watermelons in small spaces, but that's not what it's about. Most of you wouldn't know that because most of you didn't watch it. That's okay. I knew you wouldn't because I know you're here for the Bigfoot Sasquatch. Gosh, I got to get a different angle. I'm seeing movement, but it's out of your range. Hold on. There's a clearing right back here, and that sun really lights it up. Watch right back here. Keep your eye, oh gosh, yeah, right in there. You know what I'm gonna do? Yeah, I saw that little flash. It didn't hurt. It's almost as if I'm developing a tolerance to some degree. I'm going to cover my papers up here so the wind doesn't blow them away. Guys, I swear, with this movement, I distinctively saw movement back there. I'm going to walk away from the camera for about 30 seconds. I'm going to go towards my 12 o'clock, straight ahead. Watch to see if anything tries to come out from around those trees, particularly... Wait a minute, where'd it go now? This particular area. Watch to see if anything tries to follow me. I'm going to walk about 40 yards out in front of me and I'm going to come back. While I'm doing that, get my 6. You know what? I'll just take this paperwork with me so it doesn't blow away. Keep watching. Right in there. coming back. Be prepared. I'm not going to jump scare you this time. Did you see it? Did you see him, her, it, or them? I was looking down over the meadow. Did you hear that bird singing? It was an American goldfinch, one of my favorite birds. Hear them? They're singing. There's a male and a female down there. In August, September, when the thistle's gone to seed, we see literally thousands of them up here in our meadow at once. That's one of their favorite foods, the seeds from the thistle. We have videos on our channel of that if you want to see what that's like. They are gorgeous. Not in the same spot now. Guys, we're getting some activity back here. Let me get on to the numbers here, okay? Giving a shout out. Did the video yesterday on how to plant watermelons. It was really a video about attitude. Attitude determines altitude. It's pileated woodpecker. People are always asking, can you identify the birds in videos? Pileated woodpecker, yes. Okay, it's really a video about self-motivation, self-belief, work ethic, positivity, and avoiding pessimists and negative people because, you know, viruses, we're all kind of self-isolating right now because of a particular virus. Smart. Well, guess what else is contagious? Bad attitudes. So if you know people that have them, self-isolate from them, okay? I'm giving a shout out here to Nathaniel Nelson. Pinned his comment on that video yesterday. Nathaniel, you motivated me. Nathaniel watched that video and he shared with us that he used to suffer from agoraphobia. That's when you kind of have a fear of leaving your house or leaving the space in which you live. And it's very real. I've had that off and on. And I had it when I was in the Army hospital for 6 months because really the only thing I had to do was go to doctor appointments. The rest of the time I would often get caught up in just staying in my room, taking my medications, and there were many, in thinking of every worst possible scenario that could happen in the world, not just with me and in my life, but in the world. And here's the problem with spending too much time alone in your own head. It's like spending the night in the camp of your enemies. Don't believe everything you think because most of it isn't real. And I had a Sergeant First Class Eddie Baker, who was our platoon sergeant, who would drag me out of my room, get me involved, take me to Seattle Seahawks football games. Went to 3 of them up there. Tacoma had a baseball team, minor league baseball team. I can't remember their names. This was at Fort Lewis. But anyway, Nathaniel Nelson had agoraphobia. So it's a real issue. It's a real deal. But he said he finally kind of faced up to it. He overcame it. He now works in a parts store. He gets out there around other people. He's productive in society. He doesn't stay alone all the time. Well, he probably is now, which is smart as of the recording of this video. But he says when these thoughts, the I can'ts, or this can't be done, here's why, when these I can'ts come to his head, he kicks them to the street. So Nathaniel, I want to thank you for that because I thought about not making this video today. Just because, you know, just because. But then I reread what Nathaniel wrote and I said, you know what, this is your job, get out there and do it. And the information here is so exciting, I'm going to get right into it now. Here's what's going on. Okay, you saw, I'm a pretty good sketcher. You saw my sketch of the water bear, the new type of which was discovered in 2018. Just within the last week, they discovered, ooh man, look at it, lighting it up back there. Watch for movement. They discovered a new type of jellyfish off the island of Tasmania, which is in Australia. Okay, people are like, oh yeah, they discovered little microscopic things, but when did they ever discover big things like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti type stuff, Yeren, Capri, whatever? Look, Big Snotty is it might be the largest jellyfish ever discovered. It measures a full 1.5 meters wide. Okay, I've got a sketch here I made since I'm getting back into my sketching to scale, and I'm a decent sketcher. I mean, look how good this water bear looks. Look at that. Looks just like the real thing. So does Big Snotty. So does my sketch here of this giant jellyfish that has just been discovered. I've made it to scale. I put 2 human people beside it with their realistic reactions of this discovery. You ready for this? They're calling it Big Snotty because it looks like a big pile of snot. 1.5 meters wide. Discovered in April 2020. Here you can clearly see the realistic, lifelike sketch of Big Snotty. I know. YouTuber, cryptozoologist, veteran, former postman, musician, if you ever watched any of my videos on here. And now I know what you're saying, artist. Yes, actor. I was in the full-length movie, Bigfoot Sasquatch the movie. It's a made-for-YouTube original. If you haven't seen it, go up in your search bar after this and just type in Bigfoot Sasquatch the movie. And yes, now, true artist, as you can see. Look at the reaction on the people's faces who discovered Big Snotty while walking along the beach. They were like, one of them, their knees and legs trembled. They had to take a seat. They couldn't stand. That person had to sit down. They were in such shock. You can Google this. I'm not making this up. Now listen to this. This is why the discovery of Big Snotty puts us one Bigfoot closer to discovering Sasquatch. Here's some math. Here's some numbers for you. And I'm citing my source because there's so much fake news out there. I know there is because I used to work in media. I used to work for media outlets that owned conservative publications and liberal publications, and it would be my duty that day to write the same story with two different slants. And I would do that, and I would turn it into my editor, and she would have them published in various journals, and I made a lot of money playing both sides from the middle. Okay? So it is important to cite our sources. So this comes from a source called wisegeek.com. I'm sure they're credible with a name like that. But here's what they say. 15,000 new animals, plants, fungus, and microorganisms are found each year. 15,000. They go on to say 86% of existing species on Earth have yet to be discovered. Now, that's interesting in so many ways. Wouldn't you have to know how many are out there to be able to put a percentage on something? But supposedly we only know 14% of all living creatures. I don't know if I believe that, but they're kind of... I can remember in college, and this was a million years ago, being taught that we discover a new animal life form every 3 days. Something like 100 a year. Now, with advent of the internet, communication's better, research and science is all better. I'm sure it's much more than one every 3 days, but I went further in my research as a professional pseudoscientist, as a cryptozoologist, but these are real animals. In 2019, this was all newly discovered. 17 fish species, 15 geckos, 8 flowering plants, 6 sea slugs, 5 arachnids, 4 eels, 3 ants, 3 skinks, 2 skates, which are like manta rays, 2 wasps, 2 mosses, 2 corals, and 2 lizards. This is actual factual, which leads me to believe, and this is the best sketch I've done all morning, with these new discoveries, and we don't even need to go in the woods, not just because we're out of time, but because we saw what we saw when I stepped away. We saw what I sketched this morning, potentially, timestamp it. American grackle.